From roughly 20,000 BC, when the first peoples crossed the Bering Land Bridge from Asia into the Americas, shamanism arrived not as something invented on new soil but as a living tradition already carried in the minds and ceremonies of migrating communities. These Asiatic peoples appear to have brought with them a ritual complex that integrated religious and medical functions, centered around trance states, and may have involved hallucinogenic plant use. Over millennia, this tradition took root across wildly different landscapes and diversified into distinct regional forms, yet always retained its essential character, a specialist capable of moving between the human world and the spirit world for the benefit of the community. In the Paleolithic and Archaic periods, shamans were the central spiritual and medical figures of hunter-gatherer life across the continent. Cave paintings, rock art, and artifacts found across the Americas provide tantalizing glimpses into the spiritual beliefs and practices of these ancient societies, many of which bear striking similarities to modern shamanic traditions. Shamanism is often proposed by anthropologists to be the first profession, representing the first institutionalized division of labor beyond age and sex. These early practitioners read animal behavior, interpreted natural signs, administered plant medicines, and served as living memory banks for their communities. As complex civilizations arose in Mesoamerica and South America, shamanism scaled up with them. Archaeological evidence suggests that as early as 1500 BC, shamans were active in the Olmec civilization, often regarded as the mother culture of Mesoamerica, with Olmec art and iconography frequently depicting figures adorned with jaguar pelts and masks, signifying their role as intermediaries between the human and supernatural realms. Among the Maya, Aztec, and later Andean civilizations, shamanic healers sat at the intersection of medicine, politics, and cosmology. Illness was often attributed to spiritual causes such as the displeasure of gods, malevolent spirits, or soul loss, and shamans would diagnose and treat these ailments through rituals, herbal remedies, and spiritual journeys to retrieve lost souls or appease offended deities. In South America, the tradition took a deeply plant-based character, with shamans using ayahuasca ceremonies guided by icaros, songs infused with spiritual energy to symbolize the interconnectedness of the cosmos. European colonization shattered much of this world. The arrival of colonizers in the Americas led to the suppression of indigenous practices, including shamanism, resulting in the loss of traditional knowledge, rituals, and cultural identity for many communities. From the colonial era up until the passage of the American Indian Religious Freedom Act in 1978, it was illegal for indigenous people to practice traditional religion and sacred ceremonies inside the United States of America. In most communities, the traditions were not completely eradicated but rather went underground and were practiced secretly, or were syncretized with Christianity, retaining some aspects of traditional beliefs while combining them with Christian ones. Thousands of indigenous children were forcibly removed to residential schools specifically designed to sever their connection to language, culture, and ancestral knowledge. This included my own grandfather, a shaman's grandson. Even amid suppression, shamanism occasionally erupted into open resistance. In 1889, a Nevadan Paiute elder named Jack Wilson had a dream vision of a sacred dance that would enlist the spirit armies of the dead. The ghost dance was immensely attractive and united previously warring tribes from Oklahoma to California, terrifying the U.S. government and contributing to rising conflict that eventually culminated in the massacre of Wounded Knee in 1890. It remains one of the most dramatic examples of shamanic vision functioning as political and social force in the modern era. It also showcases the power of the ghost dance. By the mid-20th century, a very different kind of engagement with shamanism began to emerge in Western culture. In the 1960s and 1970s, many people in Western societies began embracing New Age spirituality as an alternative to organized religion, first becoming interested in shamanic practices through the scholarly works of Mircea Eliade, whose Shamanism, Archaic Techniques of Ecstasy, was published in English in 1964. This was furthered by Michael Harner's The Way of the Shaman in 1980, which established the concept of core shamanism, the idea that shamanic principles were ingrained into all human cultures and accessible to anyone willing to follow certain rituals. This movement provoked fierce criticism. Native American scholars have asserted that neo-shamanism represents an illegitimate form of cultural appropriation, a ruse by fraudulent spiritual leaders to disguise fabricated or unsafe ceremonies in order to reap financial benefits. In South America, commercialization took a parallel form. Since the early 2000s, the growth of ayahuasca tourism has created an economic niche for practitioners, particularly in Iquitos, Peru, where retreat centers cater to foreign visitors, and many shamans and facilitators now sustain themselves by leading ceremonies for paying participants. Running alongside, and often in tension with these commercial currents, is the work of authentic indigenous revitalization. Today, many native communities in South America and Mexico continue to practice shamanism in its traditional form, with shamans functioning as village healers whose knowledge of the surrounding land and its plants requires a lifetime of study and devotion. Native American shamans across the United States are maintaining traditional practices while adapting them for contemporary contexts, offering communities both cultural continuity and spiritual evolution. Across all of these eras, the core function of the shaman has never fully disappeared. What has changed dramatically and often painfully is who holds that role, who is permitted to claim it, and who profits from it. The 22,000-year arc of shamanism in the Americas is ultimately a story about the resilience of a practice that has survived migration, empire, colonization, and commodification, each time finding new ground while carrying something ancient forward.